Greetings all, and welcome to Daily Pali Reading. Today we begin our journey into the fourth chapter, the fourth vago of the Dhammapada, the pupphaṃiva, or the chapter on flowers. It will become apparent why it is so named. We are going to tackle, believe it or not, 2 verses today, and this will also become clear why verse 45 differs from verse 44 only in one word. We will read through the passage. We will give passages. We will talk about a rough translation, and then we will get into the, quote, nitty-gritty. Imaṃ pathaviṃ vijessati, yamalokañca imaṃ sadevakaṃ. Dhammapadaṃ sudesitaṃ, kusalo pupphaṃiva pacessati. Sekho pathaviṃ vijessati, yamalokañca imaṃ sadevakaṃ. Sekho dhammapadaṃ sudesitaṃ, kusalo pupphaṃiva pacessati. So we will go ahead and we will do a quick little rough translation, and then we'll talk about the issues. Who will triumph over? Who will gain mastery over, maybe? I know some people don't like the word master, and I understand that. Who will triumph over this earth? And we have to understand who will triumph over, or we'll just... A list of objects follows. And this world of death, along with, its devas, we could say, or gods. We'll make that a complete sentence. Who will pick out, who will mentally discern, I like that from the Pali English Dictionary, who will pick out, who will distinguish, discern, the well-taught, we could say proclaimed, but I like taught, the well-taught path to the Dharma. I'll just capitalize it there. Just like a skilled person picks out flowers. As I said, we'll get into the nitty-gritty here in a minute. I won't write out an entire translation of this second, not of the second, but of the 45th verse. It answers the question, and in both cases, it's the same. And it's the one in training, kind of the disciple in training, Sekho. And again, we'll talk about how I think that's very important and very interesting. The one in training will triumph over. Okay, so now let's talk about some of the nitty-gritty, the nitty-gritty. The first word that we come up against is this word ko. Now, ko means who. But unlike English and Pali, this who is very definitely what is known as an interrogative pronoun, meaning it's asking the question. So, for instance, in English, obviously we could say, who will triumph over? Who is that person over there? But I could say something in English like, the person who is standing over there is a friend of mine, in which case that's a relative pronoun. And in Pali, that's not the case here. I just want to point out that it would look very different. Yo, and we've come across this word already. Yo would mean like the one who. So I just want to point out that in Pali, it's very different. And also, that would mean like he or that person. So they have this interesting way of they can change the consonant, keeping the vowel the same. And change its function. But it's all kind of in a similar category, whether it's interrogative or relative or demonstrative pronouns. Okay, hopefully that wasn't too boring. Who, and then we're just, instead of going in order, we will look for the verb. The verb here is vijessati, which is the future indicative active of vijayati. And vijayati means to conquer, master, triumph over. So just quite literally, who will triumph. You know, this is third person singular. I left that out. So third person singular, who will triumph over, who will gain mastery over, who will conquer, imaṃ pathaviṃ. Imaṃ is another type of demonstrative pronoun. This, and pathaviṃ means earth. It can mean earth like the way we use the word. It also can mean earth the way the word used to get used, referring to the four classical elements that make up earth, air, fire, water. It could mean earth like that. It doesn't here, but I just pointed out because it has that dimension to it. So something that would be in the listener's mind, and I will just leave it there. So who will conquer? Imaṃ pathaviṃ. And I'm going to make that red because vijessati, it's a, quote, transitive verb. It takes a direct object. Who will conquer what, this earth? Also, all of this here, or all of these words here are also objects. They are objects of the same verb. So we could either understand who will conquer this earth, and here we get our conjunction and it's right up against this word yamalokañca. We've said it many times, but if you're new here or new to Pali, this would originally have been that. By itself, we would expect yamalokañca, just like imaṃ. But because of this cha, we have a little sound change, a sandhi, and we get this. Same meaning. Yamalokañca. So loka means world. Yama is death. And the way Pali and Sanskrit compounds work is it's not real clear what the relationship is. You could say death world even. And who will triumph over this death world? That, you get a sense of what it means, but it's not completely clear. So to clarify, we'd probably say something like the world of death or death's world or something like that, just to make it a little clearer. And actually, this imaṃ goes with that as well. So this world of death, maybe in that case we couldn't really say death's world, but this world of death, just like, and notice here we've inverted in, if you're familiar with Greek, there's a letter, we would call it an X, a chi or a chi, and from that letter, they call this a chiasmus, because you're kind of inverting the order of the words here. It might be probably done for metric purposes. And then we have this nice little word. This comes up a lot, sadevakaṃ. Now this word has three parts. This sa means along with. Deva, we know, it's the gods. We just can leave it devas sometimes. And kaṃ, or ka, in this case, it's converting this word, whatever the word is before it, into an adjective. So you could almost say like this world of death with the Devic, and in other words, meaning also lokaṃ, I think, would be a way to understand that. The world along with the devas is usually how it's translated, but it's like with the Devic world understood. I hope I didn't obliterate that too badly, too thoroughly. So the second line here, or the third gata and the fourth gata, Similar situation, we have ko, who, and we'll go way to the end here. Pacessati. Now, this is a future of pachinati, to pick, pluck, gather up, accumulate. The Pali English Dictionary says to pick out mentally, to discern, realize, know. So who will do all of those things? Who will pick out dhammapadaṃ sudesitaṃ? So this is the object here. And this is the, as you're probably aware, this is the name of the whole collection of all the verses, the Dhammapadam. Who will pick out the padang? We've come across amatapadang, like the path to the deathless. Who will pick out the step, the path? And again, we have to clarify this relationship. We could say the dharmic path. I mean, that actually, to my ear, that sounds pretty good. But who will pick out the path to the Dharma, to the truth? And not only is it the path to the truth, it is the sudesitaṃ. Su meaning well, desitaṃ meaning taught or proclaimed, preached even. I like taught. Who will pick out the well-taught, the well-proclaimed path to truth? Really to liberation. And then we have a little simile here. Now, this Eva, it's been run right up against pupphamiva. Again, if this weren't right up against it, if there was some break or the next word did not start with a vowel, we would expect pupphamiva, but we're getting pupphamiva. The meaning doesn't change. This is the object. But we'll take it in just a second because we have a nominative, a word in the nominative here. In other words, we have a subject. I'm going to put that in blue. Who doesn't like blue? I mean, these could go in blue too, I guess. Why not? And that's going to lead us to a little other discussion here. So, who would pick out the well-proclaimed path to the truth, or the well-proclaimed dharmic path, like a skilled person? So this is an adjective, kusalo or kusala, skilled, wholesome, here referring to a person, and we're going to go with skilled, and we'll see why. We're going to have to use the same verb, just like a skilled person picks out or will pick out a flower. So I think what they're meaning there is maybe if you have a garden, like a skilled gardener can go in and pluck, first of all, what's a good flower, right? And maybe pluck out a flower in a way that doesn't harm other flowers, not just grabbing and something like that. I think that's one of the meanings, but I'm interested to hear what you have to say about that, dear listener. The reason I think this is interesting is because this word kusala or kusalo comes up very often when the Buddha is talking about how we should conduct our lives. We should do away with the akusala, the unwholesome and the unskillful, and we should always strive for the skillful, to practice skillfully. So I think that it's not misplaced here, and who, like a skilled person, will pick out the, well-proclaimed path to truth. Now, down here, this verse, you might have noticed, it's exactly the same. It's just that it's an answer. Sekho, vijessati. The one in training will conquer, will master, pathaviṃ, etc. So what I find interesting about that is it's not saying the Buddha will. Of course, the Buddha already has, right? It's not saying the Arahant will. It's saying the person in training will. It's not saying might either. It's saying the person in training will. If we keep to the path, we will gain mastery over this earth. I'm going to leave this here. There's so many things we could talk about, but just to kind of keep this manageable, we're going to keep it here. But if you have, I'm sure, dear listener, you have many interesting things to say, just like my cat has some interesting things to say about getting fed right now. Peace.